Welcome back to American Christian or Christian American. If this is your first time, welcome. If you would please hit that subscribe button and the like button if you like this video. That way other people can enjoy these videos and you can get the videos when they first come out. Today we're going to talk about some stuff that's just happening right now or pretty close to right now within a few weeks. And that is the changes in Oklahoma schools, which is promoting lies in education, which is nothing new. I don't mean just Oklahoma, I mean within the United States. So they're going to be adding conspiracy theories to the educational program within Oklahoma, as well as they're considering changing the way slavery is taught. Let's look at the first video first, and then we will talk about it, and then we will go on to the second video and talk more about that.
Oklahoma's new high school curriculum includes a disproved conspiracy theory that the Democratic Party stole the 2020 election from Donald Trump. The Republican-led state will require students to learn about alleged mail-in voter fraud and, quote, security risks of mail-in balloting. The right-wing conspiracy theory, sometimes called the Big Lie, has been disproved through several audits, recounts, and lawsuits. Oklahoma's new curriculum also includes the contested theory that COVID-19 emerged from a lab leak in China, and a proposal for lessons about George Floyd's murder and Black Lives Matter was removed from the curriculum. The changes came from a review committee that included the president of the Heritage Foundation, the same conservative think tank that created Project 2025, State Superintendent of Education Ryan Walters, a former history teacher, said that the reforms will reset classrooms, quote, without liberal indoctrination, in a post on X. Parents, teachers, Democrats, and even some Republicans in Oklahoma oppose the new lessons. A former Republican attorney general in Oklahoma has already filed a lawsuit against the changes on behalf of several students and 2 teachers.
So here we have the right, which includes MAGA, which is the evangelical movement in this country, which is also white Christian nationalism. None of this is godliness. All of this is about white supremacy. We've already talked about it some. We'll talk about it more and more, about the fact that white supremacy set up in this country in order to create a white nation, a nation where slavery was condoned, or the brutality of human beings, where church members, as we have already shown and we will continue to show, brutalized African Americans in this country, murdered them, all in the name of godliness, which is nothing to do with God. Nothing absolutely to do with God. They call the left indoctrination. Well, I'm not saying that there can't be some indoctrination on both sides, but the right has had a major indoctrination going throughout this country since the beginning of it. It indoctrinates students to believe that white people are superior and that others are inferior. They inflate criminality reports on black citizens as opposed to white citizens, when many times the opposite is true. Not always, but many times the opposite is true. When we talk about all these statistics, these numbers are falsified in the media through other corrupted sources. This is just another attempt here to put in a theory that the election was stolen because they want to gain power. And they talk about democracy many times, or they have throughout the years. They don't really believe in democracy. They have done everything they can to go against democracy. In fact, the Republicans who talk about democracy and have been talking about it for years have continuously tried to draw lines in neighborhoods where they could get the best results in the elections. So what do they mean by democracy? They mean democracy with the right people voting in it, excluding people who they don't want to vote in it. So if you put the people who have the right choices in it, then we have democracy. If you put people in there who are leaning towards white supremacy, now we can have democracy amongst those people. But it doesn't include everybody who lives in this country. This attempt in Oklahoma now to teach children, to indoctrinate children, is just another level in the fact of how we have been indoctrinated since day one, how I was indoctrinated in school, talking about our founding fathers and all the glorious things that they'd done. But the founding fathers were slave owners. Jefferson owned between 300 to 600 slaves. He talked about, well, I don't really believe in slavery, but I can't afford to get rid of them. So he really didn't believe in freeing the slaves. He profited from it, but he could have tried to get a job and actually earn his way. But no, he had to have all the money he could, to have the power and the prestige he could, by the exploitation of other human beings. So the founding fathers weren't all that. This country was not established in freedom. It was established in slavery, the brutality of human beings who just looked different, the stealing of the Native Americans' land, and the murder of the Native Americans, all hinged on the doctrine of discovery, which was done in the 1400s by Pope Nicholas, who said that if land was not owned by Christians, you can take it. And you can take it, and then when they couldn't get it from them just without force, they murdered the Native Americans to get them out of the way. They sent blankets with smallpox to help kill them off. That wasn't, besides the murdering they did and the attacks that they did, but it was perhaps a little risk to the white people who called themselves superior than it was to go in full-fledged battle. So this is just another attempt to continue this horrific attitudes of white supremacy. Now they want to eliminate the discussion of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin, the police officer in Minneapolis. They want to take that out of there. Anything to do with Black Lives Matter, anything like that. So this is an attempt. They say the left indoctrination. Again, I'm not disputing that there cannot be some indoctrination in all different ways. I'm not completely agreement with all Democrats. Now, I'm far left in many ways, maybe not in certain moral issues, sexuality, and different things. So when it comes to, I believe marriage is where sexuality belongs, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But the whole thing is that too many Democrats are on the payroll of corporations, so they're really not doing the service to the people. There are Democrats who don't take money from corporations, who are actually there trying to change things and do things for the better. Bernie Sanders is one of my heroes. Doesn't mean I agree 100% with him, but I sure agree with him a lot. We're going to be talking about how racism gets in the subject of healthcare and education. All these things are up and coming. I've already created videos on them. I'm just putting this video out now because we're dealing with something that's happening right now, or pretty close to right now. So they want to take away the idea that people understand about the brutality that's happened to black people, but they want to teach them how the left is stealing elections when they have been manipulating elections all throughout history, because they decided who should vote, and then they call that democracy. So we have to let it out there straight. Now, I'm not, if you are a Republican, hopefully you're more of a person who believes in democracy. And that means that even if you believe in certain things as a Republican, you shouldn't want the elections manipulated. You shouldn't want the truth manipulated. There are many Republicans out there who don't believe in the conspiracy theory that the election was stolen, because it wasn't. They just didn't want to have the mail-in ballots and all these other things, which was a legal way to vote. So Trump put this out there. People who just followed Trump without even thinking did that. But this is about the evangelical movement, which is not about following God. This is about using God as an advertisement, but it certainly is not. It certainly is not about the things you think it is. Okay, I had a small interruption there, but I just wanted to say that we're going to look at the next video, and we're going to talk about that as well, because there's more stuff that they're trying to do in Oklahoma, more corruption of truth.
Evan, this is the bill in its entirety. It's only 4 pages in length, written by State Rep Jim Olson. It takes aim at the 1619 Project, an initiative by the New York Times. It teaches that slavery played a major role in how our country was formed.
I wanted to write this bill in order to assure that our young people are taught our history properly and in proper context.
State Rep Jim Olson taking issue with curriculum about slavery that could be taught in Oklahoma schools. His bill says students cannot and should not be taught that one single race was the oppressors and that one single race was the victims.
When the reality is that all races have been slave owners and all races have been victims of slavery.
The bill says both public K-12 and colleges or universities would have their funding cut if certain concepts were taught. Those include that America had slavery more extensively and that the primary or overarching purpose for the founding of America was to perpetuate slavery. His colleagues across the aisle are far from thrilled about the proposal.
The fact that Jim Olson chooses to fight to romanticize the legacy of slave owners in the American South is a little strange, but as I said before, not all that surprising.
State Rep Monroe Nichols says Olson is aligning himself with the wrong people.
He's now added his name to the list of folks, Holocaust deniers, 9/11 deniers, Sandy Hook deniers, and then we have Jim Olson with his denial of American slavery.
But Olson insisting this bill is not about denial, rather it's about accuracy. But of course, that bill for right now is just a bill. It would have to be passed by a committee, the legislature, and signed by the governor before it became law here in Oklahoma.
Jim Olson is another one who wants to take away the impact of the history of slavery in this country. When he says all races. Okay, first of all, let's deal with that. Like we talked about again and again and again and again and again, and I will talk about it again and again, and there is only one race, the human race. We are 99.9% identical. It's only that 0.1% that distinguishes all our features, everything else. From hair to body structure to genital size to everything is only that small percentage. We are all part of the same race. The fact of race is a social construct which is used to divide us and used to create a superior race and an inferior races. So there is only one race. Now, have there been other people who have had slavery? Yes, there have been. And in particular, before the slavery of African people, is that whites were enslaving whites. But they were a little uncomfortable with that, and also because they were enslaving non-Christians, they sometimes made a mistake and enslaved the wrong people who were Catholic. All right? So they decided to enslave people who looked different than them. And then they created the concept of white superiority. That's when they changed and altered history to such a great degree. So the lies continued on. But there has not been a slavery that is so brutal, that is so despicable and so disgusting as what has happened within European contexts and especially in this country. So to even think about diminishing teaching about that is disgusting. But it is expected and it is typical. Because that's what the right-wing people, white supremacists, white Christian nationalism does. They want to cover up history as much as possible and reshape history in the lies that they want because they want to portray things in a way that will continue to recruit people into their elite. So this is just another move, along with everything else that we've talked about up till now and today, of talking about the idea of changing history. Everything here involved, both videos, erasing of George Floyd, getting that out of there. So all these things are part of that. So what do we do? Well, it depends. If you want to just live your life and don't deal with this, you can if you're white. You have white privilege. You can ignore it. You can. But it also shows right there when you do ignore it that you don't care and that you relish white privilege because you don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. While others who are the target have no choice. They don't have the privilege of ignoring it. They don't have the privilege of just getting by in life and not having to deal with this stuff on a daily, hourly, or minute by minute sometimes basis because of the way this country treats people and the way it wants to cover up so they can continue to perpetuate the same things. Is that who you want to be? I hope not. I hope you want to wake up, stand up, and be right where it should be, together with human beings, and not isolate yourself in a fantasy world of white supremacy, a fantasy world of the white race, which is complete lie and made up concept. Don't embrace these people. Don't continue to accept what these people teach. Don't sit here and be part of a conspiracy theory to promote lies that don't exist just to get mobs ready to support them. Be what you should be, honest and truthfully. And follow God the way you're supposed to be. You cannot mix God and hate. They don't mix. If you put hate in, God leaves. God is not part of that. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't make certain judgments according to the scriptures. But it isn't about hate. God wants everybody to come to him. But you have to come to him on his terms. We can't design those terms. White Christian nationalism tries to design the terms according to what they want. We can't do that. We don't have that choice. We have to follow God according to the path he lays down. But that path is a path of love. Sometimes it's difficult. It's a path of loving each other. Sometimes it's difficult. But it's still based on love. And we're going to go through hard times at times. But at least we're doing it because of the love of God. Are we going to stumble and fall? Yes, I'm surprised I haven't broken my nose from all the falls that I have spiritually because of mistakes I make. But I'm going to get back up and I'm going to point my little disturbed nose in the right direction. Until the next time on American Christian or Christian American, God bless.